Welcome to Rock Bottoms Up Podcast, hosted by Chad Sommer. Stories of recovery, the real, the raw, the ridiculous.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Rock Bottoms Up, dedicated to addiction recovery. I'm your host, Chad Sommer. Here on Rock Bottoms Up, this podcast shines a light on the tough journey of addiction recovery through powerful stories. And from those who have faced these battles and won, we aim to inspire and give you the tools to overcome. I'm excited to get in today's topic, as today we're going to be talking about boundaries. But first, I just have to gloat a little bit about my team. As you see, I am repping LA Rams today as yesterday they beat out Buffalo. Buffalo was supposed to kill us, but yet my team showed up, fought hard, and got that W. So I just have to pay a little respect to my boys, my Rams out there, as I am a LA Rams fan. Gloat a little bit. I'm so sorry, Buffalo. I mean, you did well. I mean, put up, 42 points. That's very respectable. You're a good team, young team, and maybe hopefully next week you'll win. But as of today, LA Rams, woo, woo, woo. We took that W yesterday. So excited for my boys. Even though I don't think we're going to make the playoffs, you got to take times like this and really celebrate it. And I am. I'm so excited. Today, I'm going to be talking about boundaries in my recovery. Setting boundaries, it was extremely hard for me because I was a yes, ma'am, yes, sir. I didn't like to disappoint people. I definitely didn't like to cause any waves. And so I did as much as I could for people as I possibly could. And, later on through therapy and my own recovery, I realized being a yes man and not setting boundaries was causing me to be pretty passive aggressive. And as I was passive aggressive, guess who got the brunt of me being passive aggressive? Well, usually the ones that were close to me, my loved ones, my close friends. And so boundaries for me was extremely a huge part of recovery. Why? Because I had to make changes in my life. Obviously, being an addict, alcoholic, my setting was hanging out with people who were drug addicts and alcoholics. And as I made those choices to get sober, I couldn't be in those environments anymore. I couldn't be around people that were using because it put me in dangerous situation of relapse. And so, being a yes man, not wanting to hurt other people's feelings, boundaries was extremely hard for me. Extremely hard. And as I got into my recovery, as I started setting these boundaries, with these individuals, I learned a hard lesson. I learned that our friendship was just a drug friendship. It was just an alcohol friendship. It was just a party friendship. I lost probably 99% of friends and family setting boundaries. And so it's not easy. This is not an easy step for a lot of people in their recovery, but it is essential. As I started setting boundaries, there's one thing that I took notice. And I noticed as I started setting boundaries is that I found out that I could trust myself. I found out I could love myself because I was showing respect to myself. Like I said before, setting boundaries is extremely difficult, but it's essential for your self-respect. It is essential for your mental health, your mental well-being. And that is key. That is a key part of recovery, is regaining your mental toughness, your mental health. Where before we weren't mentally healthy. We were choosing to cope with our problems with drugs and alcohol. So when setting boundaries, first when you set a boundary, or when I started setting boundaries, you definitely had to finish with an action step. So meaning, if I was talking to a friend, and let's just say John, hey John, I am getting sober, and because I'm getting sober, I just want you to know that I can't put myself in a position where I can relapse. So I've got to keep myself away from drugs and alcohol. Now, listen, my friend, I love you. You're my friend. We've been through a lot together over these past years, but I cannot be around you while you're using. And the action step is so key to follow up when you set that boundary. And the action step that I'd had to use is, if you're going to use, I can't be around you. So to follow through with that, you have to be strong. You have to be strong on your action step. This isn't something that, well, as far as me, that always put me in a vulnerable situation where 9 times out of 10 I would relapse, because muscle memory kicks in. You want to have fun, you want to be a part of the group. And the action step is to say, I had to say, if you're going to use, I can't be around you. There's times where I would show up and this boundary would be broken because there would be drugs or there'd be alcohol and I would have to leave. And what would happen next is, a lot of manipulation. I was told that I was too good, and that I was told that I'm strong and that I wouldn't relapse and I don't have to worry about it, that it wouldn't be offered to me. Just manipulative tactics trying to get me to break down my boundaries. So when setting a boundary, you have to be strong. I had to be strong in my action step. And there was plenty of times where I had to remove myself and I would get that phone call. What's your problem? Are you too good for me? Like, can't you be around it and just not do it? I mean, we're missing our hangout time. I like you here. Things are a lot funner when you are here. And so it was so key in my recovery to hold firm to my action steps. And you always have to, and here's the other thing too, is that when you communicate your boundaries and your action steps, you're going to have to get used to offending people. And that's okay, because I think a lot of us don't want to offend people, like myself. I didn't like to hurt people's feelings, but I had to learn that I'm not responsible for other people's feelings. The most important thing about my recovery was me. The most important thing about my recovery was putting action steps into place, boundaries into place, so that I could maintain my sobriety, because I did drugs and alcohol to my detriment every time. And so setting boundaries is it was one of the hardest steps that I had to go through, because I wasn't good at hurting people's feelings. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. It made me sad to hurt other people's feelings. Even though when you start setting boundaries, you begin to find the manipulation. And it's really hard to see. And here's another thing that I had to learn through setting boundaries is I had to learn about my own manipulative tactics. And what I mean by that is, aside from like recovery, when I would set a boundary and an action step, if somebody crossed that, I would use them crossing my boundary as a way to manipulate and get my own way. And boy, that was looking in the mirror and facing yourself. Is that when you start seeing some of your own manipulative, big words, manipulative tactics. And so I had to do a lot of soul searching, because I wasn't respecting myself, and I surely wasn't respecting other people by doing such things. And again, like I said, like, don't try to take responsibility to have to keep the peace. Sometimes you're going to have to create those wares, and you're going to have to be comfortable in doing it. Just remember who you're fighting for here. Recovery may be one of the most selfish things that you're going to have to face in this life, because you're fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your freedom. You're trying to overcome this addiction that you have used as a coping mechanism for who knows, how long. But I just want you to know that you can do this. Setting boundaries is something that you can do. Is it easy? No, absolutely not. And so taking a journal is a great action step for you. Writing in a journal, taking note to writing your boundaries down. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but change is uncomfortable. Change is letting that part of you die and realize that the way that you were doing things really wasn't working for you. So change is uncomfortable, but you're worth it. And fight for yourself. Fight for your dignity. Fight for your self-respect. This is something that we get to gain through our recovery. Recovery isn't easy. It hurts. It really does. It hurts, and we lose a lot of people along the way. But in the end, most important person's you here. This is your life. You only get one life to live. And don't take that for granted. Recovery for me was one of the best things that I ever could give myself. Getting back that self-respect that I lost a long time ago. Being able to love and trust myself. It's such an amazing cornerstone to start building this new life. I just want to leave you with this. No matter where you are in your journey, recovery, it's not just possible. It is within your reach and is necessary to live a more happier, meaningful life. I can say that. You have the power to rewrite your story, to reclaim your life. Remember, even in our darkest moments, we have the power to rise up out of it. We have survived 100% of our worst days, and we're not going to stop today. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Rock Bottoms Up. As always, we love. We love to hear from you guys. Please don't forget and subscribe. Also, leave us a comment or email me at rockbottomsuppodcast@gmail.com. Guys, I love you, and I hope you guys have a great evening. Good night, everybody. New episode on Rock Bottoms Up this Monday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.